Guys, it is the lovely lawyers from Ready to Love season 4. And I haven't really done a recap, have you?
No, I haven't done a recap yet.
Where's
This is
that?
our very first one.
Court is in session.
Recap. We lost our recap virginity today.
Yes. So sorry we're late. Somebody was working. No, the lawyer is very busy, so be patient with us. But no, we're here, and please ask questions. We're going to kind of focus on the most recent episode, but is there anything from like previous episodes, like up to this point, that you want to talk about, or that you would want to just make commentary on?
Probably, but
we could. Now that we're sitting here, I'm like, wait, this is our first recap, and there are some things that I would want to comment on.
Yeah,
but you can go first.
I think we'll flow in. I'm gonna wait till we go and flow into it. If you want to start off, you can.
Is there? I do. I'm gonna start off.
Okay.
So
you ready?
I would like to just, because I feel like I got a lot of slack from the first episode when I had an interaction with Christian, and they were like, I was rude to Christian. So first of all,
okay, yeah, you do need to
clarify that. So Christian, I've known Christian outside of Ready to Love. Like, that's the homeboy. He's super cool. He's a great guy. And when I heard the commentary that ladies were making about him, I wanted him to know that. Now, was it the best way? To some people, maybe not. But I feel like we're all grown, and I don't like doing the he say, she say. And I asked the ladies before I invited him over if they were okay with that. But one thing I like about Ready to Love is like when we have our dates that you send someone home, like you have to tell them what it is that you had a disconnect with. And I feel like that makes us own up to uncomfortable conversations. And so, no, it's not my place. No, I'm not Tommy. I'm not trying to take his job. I'm looking to that man for help. But I just kind of just thought like, hey, like we're here for this experience to be able to get out of our comfort zone, have real conversations. And so I just wanted that to happen and to be fair. And I wanted him to get a chance to correct anything that may be misjudged by him before we came up to elimination. So maybe it wasn't the best way. I'm not saying it was. That was my way in the moment of how I handled it. And my intentions were good. He does know that. He thanked me afterwards. And then when we sat down to eat later, and I walked off from him, I did not walk off.
That didn't look bad. It was like, okay, I don't want to do
this. It did look really bad, but y'all just gotta understand, like when you're in that moment, sometimes you might get called away. Right or wrong. Like, I had gotten called away to go do something, and I did, in fact, come back looking for him later, but of course, like, you guys don't see that. So, I'm not just out here, like, rude for no reason. That is not me. Amber may think that I am.
No, but I'm glad you clarified that, because honestly, even when I watched it, I was like, why is Kyra drilling this guy like that? But
it was
once I found out about y'all's relationship, it makes sense. It makes sense. You just looking out for him. But at first, I was like,
why's she doing like
that? No,
but
okay, now I do have something, because they did the same thing about Khalil and I. They was like, Aaron's drilling everybody.
Why you lawyering him?
And y'all do not understand, like, honestly, all my conversations were great, and like that was like not even half of
y'all's conversation.
Of our conversation. In addition to, that wasn't even half of the day. Like, y'all do not understand, we were there from probably 10, 11 a.m. to like 2 o'clock.
10, 11 at night. Or no.
2 o'clock. Remember, it was late.
Was super late.
It was super late.
You know what?
It was late.
It was. And to that point, when y'all saw me sit down with AJ and have that conversation, first of all, he is the one that initiated us going to the side to go sit down to talk while eating. And I was starving. I was hungry. Like, I had not eaten all day.
We were shooting,
He wanted to have the conversation. Great. Like, I had no problems with that. But your girl was hungry. And so I was trying to multitask. And I'm not used to being on camera. Like, that was our first day filming, like, for real. So I'm sorry. If you've been trying to make me remember about this camera right here, at that moment, I was hungry. So
yeah, back to Khalil.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It was, I was not grilling him. It was like, literally that moment or that segment was towards the end of our conversation. Mm-hmm. So we had already broken the ice.
Gotcha.
And, you know, he's saying mean girl.
Because you were sitting there like, no, what about you? I was like, okay, Amber.
Which I am kind of like that. But it was not it made it seem like that was our initial interaction. It was not our initial interaction. Like,
questions.
we talked way before that.
There are any connections this season? We'll get to that because there actually really are.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, that was that about Khalil. But I didn't care what y'all said anyway. So
you don't, which is great.
Yeah, I just really don't care. But it was Khalil cared. He was like, "Was I that bad?" And I was like, "No, we had such a good conversation." And like, honestly, we did.
Like, Khalil had something personal that like had just like kind of happened. I'm not here to tell anybody the details, but it was like he had some other stuff going on. So I do think that he was kind of distracted. With other stuff that he had. That I mean, any one of us would be. So it was totally understandable. Because when I saw him like at the premiere party for the show, I was like, "Yo, where was this guy at?" He was his suit. Oh, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "Khalil, what did you have on after this?" But when he came to the premiere party, he looked really nice. He was very personable, more friendly, and he was just like, "Yeah, I just had a lot going on that day." And I was like, "Okay."
But that was the same Khalil I got, so that's why I was like shocked after when he got eliminated.
Okay. See,
and then a lot of the other women also were like, he has a good conversation. We believe he's here for love.
Oh, see,
so I was really surprised.
I'm not gonna lie.
I was like, oh, okay. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Because remember, like the women were kind of split up. They had us kind of split up.
Yeah. A lot of the time.
It was like this side was saying one thing, and this side was saying like another thing.
Gotcha. Well,
okay, that makes sense.
Khalil was super cool. Super cool people. And we're going to get into the whole AJ situation, but yes, I guess people are like, well, why did she do that there? Well, I'm a very transparent person. So when Tommy sat down and asked us who we're feeling, I was like, well, let me be honest. I dated somebody here before, and he asked me, okay, well, what happened? Well, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you. And so he asked me it wasn't everybody over there. It was just me, Renisha, and Stacy, and Tommy at the time, I believe. It was not everybody. And I did not keep bringing it up. They just keep showing y'all the same clip, but
But honestly, you should have brought it up, and it's not shady because even AJ admitted to this. Like
that's how it happened,
and he admitted to that's not what he should have done, and that's not how a gentleman conducts himself. And you, as a woman, should not have had to feel that or had to go through that. So
I became the villain.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. No, as a gentleman what you're supposed to do, and I should not come here. If you ask me on a date, then honey, you're paying for the date. I mean, why did you ask me for a date if you do not have the funds? And it's not even about that. It's just sometimes that men don't understand. Like women want to feel that romance. We want to feel that. We want to feel that Renaissance man. We want to feel. It's not even about can I pay? Of course, I can pay for it myself. But don't even ask me on a date because that's what a woman is going to expect, and that's what she wants. A woman wants to be treated well. Men think of that in a way. Men mostly want to be respected. Women, we are all about how we are treated, like how we feel, how we're treated. So I'm just like,
more so, it's that in dating, I feel like people see me as a lawyer and they feel like I'm going to be their sugar mama or something. And so I've had situations where guys have lied about their careers, guys have lied about all kind of crazy stuff. And I was just kind of tired of being like, yo, I'm not your, I'm not your bank, I'm not your piggy bank. That's not what this situation is. So I kind of got the vibe, and I was already defensive because of my experiences. So I was like, cool, I'm not going to play chicken. Let me clarify that. My card was not on the table. My card was on the tab because I got there before he did. So while waiting, I ordered one drink, and the bartender said, you can pay with whatever card when you leave. Cool. My card was on the tab, not the table. So when I came back from the restroom and it was still sitting there, I'm not going to play chicken. Cool, I'm going to just pay it, went about my business, and that'll be that. So, and I wasn't even done at that moment. It really was his comment after the fact when, AJ dug into his heels and was like, well, sometimes breaking customs is a necessity. Cool, that's for you, that's not for me. So, tomato. But here we are, and that's in the past.
I think that was fine.
For him to say that?
If you wanted to be done after that day, who cares? I don't feel like and that was the moment of truth. Like, okay, somebody's here that I know, and we went on a date and it wasn't that well. And I'm sure you were probably thinking like, do I want to give this guy another date?
And so I was glad that
we're ready. We're here to love. We're here today. Like, do I even want to give this guy a chance? And this is why. Because then if you didn't say that, everyone would have been like, she's not
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's
so,
that's actually
they nag.
That's true. That's
so,
true.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm not mad that I said it. I'm glad that I said it. I'm glad that we were able to have a conversation about it. And so try to work through some things, but we'll get to that later on in the slide. But I think that's all I really wanted to address prior to.
I think so too.
To this last episode.
I don't know. I think that's it.
That's it. So, this last week on Ready to Love, our assignment was to go out with somebody who wasn't your typical type. So Amber was high girl. I don't want to say high girl city because not high girl city, but she was out on these dates, honey. So she went out with who did you went out with?
AJ and Joel.
So which one you want to talk about first?
We'll go in the order that it was presented.
I think AJ was first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not arguing with you with the commentary that you made. I made those same comments to him myself, actually.
Okay, yeah. So AJ's honestly a good guy. He's cool. We're just like friends, though. Okay, I'm just naturally, I don't know if it's a Taurus in me or what, I'm just naturally that person that woman that if everybody likes the guy, I automatically like bump you all the way down because it's like I'm not gonna be on your jock and I don't really care.
Right.
I don't care if you're attractive. I don't care if you're attractive. I don't care what you have going on. Like I'm not gonna flock because everybody's flocking. That's just me. Like I don't like to conform. But
that is you.
That is me. And it's just honestly, it's just natural, and I hate it sometimes. But anyways, we went on a date. I gave AJ, like, let's go on a date. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. Also, during that time, I feel like AJ was only trying to have these conversations with me before deliberation. Like, it's time for elimination. And so, at that time, I was just like, I don't know.
Is it a game?
Yeah, is it a game? Is he trying to get to know me? To see if there is a possibility or not, because I do feel like some of the guys were more so stuck on their type more than the women. And so I feel like we were willing to say,
let me at least try.
Let me try everybody.
That's true.
And I feel like the guys were like, okay, I mean, everyone looks great, but I really just wanted this person. I really just want that person. And I feel like that's just how I feel about the guys. So anyways, I was just like,
Amber was tough on me, I'm not gonna lie. Which is why when y'all hear me say, hold on now, which we'll get to, because Amber was cutting everybody's head off on the table. I was like, wait, who's gonna be left? But anyway,
I just felt like I brought out something that maybe y'all wouldn't have said because y'all had those connections with the guys. And sometimes people bring different perspectives.
For sure.
Like, and the same thing with Chris. They would bring different perspectives. And when you're not into the guy like that, or you don't feel like there's a connection, you see different things. Because that's why you're not, Exactly. So, anyways, I went on there with AJ. It was cool. AJ is, he is charming. Like he pulled Alexis in and put her on his lap during the elimination elimination day. He was doing some of that. I'm just like, stay over there.
So I did think that it was one point. He put his hand on your knee and you were like, no, we're not that friendly.
Yeah, I'm not falling for that.
Teach your game.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, this is what the ladies were talking about. I was getting some of that, and I got to know the genuine side of him. I did, but I felt like I had to kind of come at him first, like, hey, this is it. Like, I feel like you're arrogant. I feel like you don't want to work for a woman, and I'm not going to chase a man. I'm not going to be calling you 24/7. He's like, he also expressed some things, too. Like, he was like, how could you just bump Troy from your number one to gone? I'm like, would Troy deserve that? That's a different scenario. That's not
that's what you said. It wasn't because he didn't work. It was it
had nothing to do with me matching the energy. That's a whole nother story. But if you mess up, you just mess up. Yeah, that's it. I mean, what did you want me to do?
Yeah.
So
I'm not gonna lie, we was confused. Like, what happened to them? I don't even know.
What?
Did you and Troy?
The girl took me one time, and that was brunch.
Really?
I was over it. I was like, actually, it was a mixer, but the brunch was
solidified it for you.
Yeah, solidified it. My brunch was like, I was going into brunch and was like, let me see if what I'm thinking is correct.
Because at the mixer, they were like, okay, we can see them being together. And I think you had even mentioned like, yo, I'm kind of liking this guy.
Yeah, he was in my top.
Yeah,
he was in my
just that quick.
Come
on, Troy.
Well, because I was already picking up things.
Oh, okay.
And so it was like, oh, it's just the first time. Let me not come in
Give
so hard. Let me get, let me see. And then the brunch just was like,
gotcha.
There we go.
What I thought was
okay.
Well, she tried, guys. She tried.
And I was correct.
Mm-hmm.
I was correct. So
hey,
yeah.
Troy.
So hey Troy. But Troy's cool. Troy knows.
No, he is.
He's cool. It's like not a big deal. But we've had that discussion.
He's Troy.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the day with AJ, and I think we just like got to know each other and really like got to the core of each other and saw each other. And you know what was interesting?
What's that?
Okay, we're not there yet.
Uh-oh.
But like I don't know, as we progressed, even though it wasn't a romantic feel, like AJ and I like actually developed like this kind of like friendship where it was like, where was this at?
You're not so bad. You're an asshole, but not that much of an asshole.
We had a moment which it was like behind the scenes where it's further down though in the show, but we sat down and like we were both working together and we're just talking and stuff, and then like we kind of like looked and was like, oh, so you cool? I was like, you're not so bad. He's like, you're not so bad. So yeah. Also, I feel like AJ likes to challenge you with a lot of things, like. And especially when he thinks you're an attorney, so he just wants to like, So yeah, it was a good day though.
Yes. No, and I mean, like the stuff you were saying is very like I've had conversations with AJ. Like he doesn't come across like I've said this to him. I'm just gonna say it to y'all too. Like the way he acts sometimes as if his experiences haven't really required a lot out of him, and so you're gonna do what you're used to. Which is cool for some people, but not for everyone. So
he's attractive.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to do much.
Exactly.
He doesn't have to do much.
That's what I'm saying.
And
it's
I
not
have
on
friends
him.
like it's not, but he's used to that.
Right.
And he didn't even realize that. Honestly,
yeah.
It wasn't like He said it was not intentional because
I don't think it was.
And he said on the show like, "Oh, boom!" Like they kind of hit me like I don't want to look like this kind of person. So I don't even think he realized it, but.
I have creatures of habit.
Yeah.
He is handsome.
Yeah.
He's
and
tall.
so the girls are like, yeah. And it's just what he gets, and that's fine. But yeah.
But no. So you had that date. You went out with Joelle.
Okay, let's tell your date next.
I'm at the end because my date. But we're doing opposite dates now. So I did have a date that wasn't If you guys follow on YouTube, if you don't, go to their YouTube page because they do also show like snippets that they don't show on the episode when it airs.
Behind the scenes.
And
some of them are spicy.
So I haven't gone on any spicy dates yet that y'all haven't seen. But I did go on a date with David, Diedrich, and Liz, and we went to go play basketball. You can see that on YouTube. And so that was cute. That was cool. It was fun. Both of them are amazing men. David actually was in my top, like, number 3.
Yeah.
So that was cool. He and I did also go on a date that wasn't filmed, or it was filmed, but it wasn't shown. That actually went really, really good and kind of had me kind of all messed up in the head at a moment. And Diedrich is, like, an amazing guy, but Diedrich's, like, my brother.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yo. Also, it's like I already kind of have connections with these other guys. So to like say that there's a solid chance, considering the situation, let's be realistic. Like it wasn't love him to death as a brother, but just intimately, like there were already other guys that I kind of had stronger connections with at the time. And so when he was like, yo, I'm feeling you too, and I was like, yo, Diedrich, I love you, brother. But like that. But I really do think that Diedrich and David are great men. But at that time, I just had stronger connections with other guys. So that was my only. And then the one with David that they didn't show you guys, that was actually really. I kind of was looking at David like, huh.
I know. I had that elimination date with David. It switched, and then we had a date, and we went.
Oh, see,
But David and I. So David was in my top at the mansion.
Okay.
David and I think we just have like this. I don't know. It's just real.
Yeah,
like,
he's very much so.
Like,
the conversation flows so easily.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, it is what it is, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, and we're saying whatever, we're just saying whatever.
Exactly.
And I'm like, you just saying whatever like that? So I was like, okay, you're cool. So yeah, David is like real cool, real chill. Okay, so let me get my next date.
Your next date was with Mr. Nola Man himself.
Yeah, with Joel. So I had a date with Joel, and Joel was not in my top.
No, I don't recall you mentioning him.
At first, he literally came out of nowhere. At that day, like that was the monumental change, like in our like, yeah. And I was shocked. I didn't think it would be romantic.
Where did y'all go here?
We went to Lucio's.
Okay.
And we were outside on the patio.
Because it looked really romantic. Yeah,
it was romantic, girl. And we had a romantic date, and I don't know why I didn't picture Joel like as romantic, but I didn't. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't. But it was romantic. It was nice, and we got to talk. I know a lot of people ask me about the mother thing, like, oh, would you have really? You're so young. Would you have really been a mother? Blah blah. And I would. I feel like if I really care about somebody, I would. I love children. I just naturally love children. So it's not a big deal for me.
So,
but I told him
because normally I don't have a problem with a guy who has children. But I even talk to my girlfriends about it. Like, yo, what's this guy? He kind of fly, kind of different. He's handsome. Joel got a body. We all know it. But he has children for me in a very vulnerable place.
He does.
Like, his children, their mother isn't there. So it's a difference when children have their mom and they're kind of like all sharing responsibility versus me trying to step into the role, not trying to replace the mother by any capacity, but stepping into the role of somebody who doesn't have their mom. I personally was like, that's not where I'm at in life. Just being honest.
Well, for me, it was like based on the connection.
Okay.
Because even with me, I don't really like, I'm going to be honest, I don't have any children. So I don't like men that I date to have a lot of children. Again, though, two.
Two is a lot? Okay. I can do two.
Because I want
three for me is kind of like,
I want two.
So we got four? You're like, nah.
No, but we can have four, so that's two. That's like cutoff. After two, I would prefer you not to have 3 or 4 kids.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're saying the same thing.
Gotcha. Also, I'm more lenient towards men who have gotten out of a divorce.
Yeah.
So it's natural for you to have
more
children.
That's
reasonable. I'm not unreasonable about it. But like if you're single with like 3 kids, I'm sorry. Like I don't really want to do that. But you know, again, I think things change.
If there's a connection.
If things change. You
know
say
what?
a lot of things and you be like, I'm not gonna do that.
You know what? I will say this because David, and I told David this, like normally I would not go, because David has 3 children, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, normally I wouldn't date a guy who has 3 children. So my questions were, do you want more kids? Yes. Okay. Is your relationship with your, the mother of the children in a good space? Yes. Okay. Can you afford more children? Yes. If you say all 3 to those, then if we have a strong connection, the exact numbers to me will not matter as much. So it kind of, like you say, depends on the connection and the scenario.
Yeah.
But if I say you have 3 kids and you can't afford more kids, then we don't.
Then no, sir.
Just be honest.
Or if you have drama with your children's mother, I'm not dealing with that.
Right.
So with Joel, I was just telling him, like, if we had a good connection, and we really had a very strong connection, and I do mean very strong connection, I wouldn't mind being who I needed to be at the moment. And that is not their mother. And I made that very clear. It's not to be their mother. I would never even, like,
try to replace
it. I wouldn't even come in to try to, like, pull them in. You know how, like, with some kids, you're like, hey,
yeah.
No, they'll naturally come around when they naturally come around,
they feel
right?
with you in that
exactly.
Space.
So that was just my thing. Like, I was just letting him know, like, that's not something I'm afraid of, and that's not something I mind. Like, is it something that you should handle delicately? Yes.
Very much so.
But it's not something that I'd be like, oh no, blah blah. So, yeah. But
sorry, I'm trying to see the questions. You asked the right questions, and there is more to see from. You know,
You asked the right questions. What?
they say that's a lot, like with whether you want more children, can afford more, and if the relationship with the mother is good. There could be more to see with David, but you know, sometimes they edit these dates weird because I thought that date with David would have come out this past episode. Let me tell y'all, like, they have so much footage of us, it is hard to kind of try to get it in like a 1 hour episode. Mm-hmm. So there are dates that you may not see, but we're just here to kind of sprinkle a little light on it so that it'll make sense in the full storyline, that you kind of see connections and things shifting and turning and things like that. But
right. And I have to say something else about the Joel date. So Joel was like, which made me feel honored, but at the same time a little uncomfortable because he was comparing me to his wife, his ex-wife a lot. I reminded him of her, and for a lot of reasons, different reasons that he would point out. And I was honored by that because I knew that's somebody he cared about dearly, and they were great qualities to have. But I left the date like questioning, like wondering, like, okay, is he gonna compare me to his wife? Is this a connection based off that he feels
who
like
you are versus
his wife? Not really.
I know
but, her spirit still dwells or whatever.
But just the similarities between the two of you.
And I didn't want that to, like, if it were to progress, I didn't want him to, I guess, always resort to that, like, she reminds me so much of my wife.
And, like, that'd be the reason he chose you versus actually wanting to see. Or that'd be the reason he tried to pursue you versus
Exactly.
who you are as Amber.
Or that's the reason he's not trying to pursue me because I remember so much that it's also hurtful. Yeah. So it was that. I was just like, how does this go?
I don't know. I know I'm getting all up in the camera, y'all. Then no love, Flavor Flav. They said no love for Flavor Flav with the kids. It seems like they eliminate people fast without giving a real chance. It's not about eliminating people fast without giving them a real chance. Like, y'all have to understand, like, we don't really have a choice. Like, it is speed dating on crack. So if we have so much time and then we have to get back in front of Tommy and tell him who we're liking and who we're not, like, we have to make those decisions. And what I'm really asking is for y'all to give us some grace and some compassion and understanding that we were really trying to genuinely open up and that we were under the gun and having to say this person, that person, for this reason or that reason. And you guys hear me say, like, in one of my interviews, like, it was emotionally overwhelming at times because you do really have connection with certain people, but you have to make these what seems like split second in the real scope of how you would normally date decisions with regards to who you want to make a life decision about pursuing this person or not pursuing that person. And so it was not easy at all. So it may seem like we're just like off with his head and on to the next. But it really wasn't. Like, we would sit there at Deliberation for hours. Like, y'all see just like a couple of minutes of our deliberation. We would be there all day, like, talking and trying to understand, like, her perspective about him versus my perspective. And, like, okay, who is this person really? Because we both only seen a partial glimpse of them.
Right.
So it was not an easy process. So it wasn't like we were just trying to eliminate people quickly without any compassion. It's just we just only had what we could work with at the time. So,
and to add to that, like, it's still a show, so someone has to get eliminated, and so you just go off what you know. And so if you don't have a connection with that person,
right,
you're naturally going to say not this person because I haven't had a connection with them, and that's all I can go off of. Like, literally, the mansion mixer is based off who you did not talk to at that moment. Like, who did you not?
You did talk to, it just didn't
but
go that
it didn't go well, or you didn't really get to talk to that person. Like, some of us were just like, I unfortunately have to say this person because I just have not had a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Like, to get to know if I have a connection. Unfortunately, that's just a part of the show, and we all participate in the show. We all know that's how it's going to go.
Exactly.
And so, we have to do what we have to do, but also, some people are eliminated for legitimate reasons as well. Like, we're not just making up things or like, oh, we're going to give that person a chance. Like, some people have, in that moment, things that we felt like, okay, that was unacceptable or don't do that, So, they were eliminated.
I'm like, he's looking more for a mom. No, he's not looking for a mom. at all. Someone said sometimes Joel seems like he's looking for a mom for his kids.
No.
Not at all. I will actually say that one of the things. Now I never had let me not say that. Joel was not in my top solely because I did not see myself fitting within his family structure. And I did feel like there were other women that were a better fit for him. Because for me, it was like, who's the best fit for you? Who's the best fit for me? If there's someone else that I see as a better fit for you and someone else for me, then let me focus on that. You focus on that. So Joel is a handsome guy. And one of the things that attracted to me as a handsome guy was that he is a very, hands-on, around the house with, you need something wrong with your car, something wrong. He is a man's man that he'll take care of the woman that he's with. So I didn't get the perspective that he was looking for someone for his children at all.
Now, one thing about Joel, and I can't give him this, he's a great father and he's very protective of his children. So he's not going to let anyone just around his children whatsoever. And he makes that very clear. He's not looking for a mother. He handles his children on his own. He does it with proper care, and he does a great job. And he's very serious about I don't care who I'm dating. It's not gonna come and be my kids. So I do like that about him and respect it about him.
Yeah, no, that's definitely accurate. Somebody say yes, speed dating on crack. Yes, speed dating on crack. So give us some compassion because he was under the gun.
Did you watch Green Lightning?
Green Lightning.
I mean Black Lightning.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about, isn't it the stuff Green Lightning?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what
this
is
girl
it?
Here? I don't know. I just my nephew in the mornings. I don't remember. I wasn't really paying that much attention.
But look, it was 2 weeks ago. I finally had time to watch a different show, and I like the guy that's in there that plays. What's his name? I forgot his name. Is it Jordan? No.
Girl, I suck my name.
Okay, the guy that plays Khalil. Anyway, I've always liked him, and so I was like, okay, I'm finally gonna take out the time to watch it.
Gotcha.
So the green, the crack.
Oh, okay.
That's where I was going with that. The crack, and I'm like, no, it's like speed dating on that Green Lightning.
So who else had it? So those were your 2 dates.
Mm-hmm.
Alexis and Ramen on a date. Liz and Ramen on a date, right?
Okay, was the group date awkward? How did you feel about the group date?
No, the group date wasn't awkward. We played basketball. I was able to show my skills or whatever. It wasn't awkward. I do wish at that time I had gotten more time to talk with David, but he was talking with Liz and I was talking with Diedrich. But Diedrich is that's the one thing that I did like about Diedrich, and I feel like to this day that's why he's my brother. It is so easy for me to talk to him about almost anything. When I'm frustrated, when I'm mad, sometimes during filming, I will call Diedrich and be like, yo, because I'm about to jump off the edge right now. Help will me back in. And he was always there. He is a great person to talk to. So I didn't feel awkward. It was fun. It was cool. It was fun. I didn't feel awkward at all.
Okay.
No.
I don't like the group dates.
No. There's a group date that
I really don't like
that comes up, but I think that might come up next episode, so I don't want to say anything yet. I'm gonna just wait.
With me?
No. It was me. I don't know if it was me and some people, but no, you weren't there. No.
Yeah, I did a group date, but I did 2 group dates. One of them they aired. That's the one with Troy, the painting. And
do expound on that, because that one I wasn't there for that one. We went. That's right, because y'all had that group date, and then we had the cooking class. Yeah.
That group date, that was interesting. I actually got to speak to Joel, and I was like, okay, I like Joel. That's when I found out he was a man's man, and all this great stuff. And he was talking to me, and then I guess I was one of the people that was like, I don't care who's here with their connections, honey. I'm gonna talk to everybody. So
exactly, which is true. Yeah.
David and I, he initialed my thing. Was like, I'm marking my territory.
That's when it's like, okay, don't do too much. Babe, I love you, but don't be doing too much.
No, it wasn't nothing like, it was just cute little, we're all group date, just flirty, crazy stuff, whatever.
And y'all said y'all did have a connection at the mixer, so
yeah,
it was like, hey, don't go nowhere yet.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And
so then Troy, of course, was there. So there was only 3 guys there? Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, Troy. And then Troy was doing what he does, honey. And then,
okay. So yeah. So
and he was like, it was funny because I was like, Troy, you so silly. But at the same time, I was like, why are you doing that? Because he didn't tell me Andrea was in his top. Like I didn't even know she was his number one at the time.
Really? I don't know. Well, okay. So watching the date with KG and Chrysanthemum, because you know KG was your boo. Is your boo? I don't know. You gotta keep watching to find out. How did you feel like watching their dates together? Because KG was saying it for you, girl.
I didn't feel the type of way.
Did it reaffirm it or give you any like reassurance with like y'all's connection?
Yeah, now that I watch it.
Yeah. Right.
Like knowing that early on, you're just kind of wondering.
Right.
Because because everyone keeps thinking KJ put all of his eggs in the basket again. But
I don't think so.
And that's what I'm saying. Because we weren't each other's tops. Remember, I just switched. Like I wasn't saying KG at first.
That's accurate.
And then I switched out of nowhere and was like accurate. KG because we started talking more and had more dates. And I wasn't his top at first.
Gotcha.
So he was not putting all his eggs in one basket. It just looks like that on TV, but in reality, no. Because at the mansion, I didn't even talk to him.
I think him and Chrysanthemum really were like they did have like I know it to other people like from the outside, but they did have like a solid connection. Like and they were trying to really explore like is it as friends or can it be something more? But they did have like good foundation to see which direction they wanted to go in. So.
Yeah, and I think that I honestly think that sometimes Chrysanthemum and I have similarities. Like she's kind of silly, goofy like him. And I could see how
spicy, like cut spicy.
You just have to bring it spicy. Yeah, spicy too.
But in a good way, like in
spicy
a good
too.
way.
So I could see how. Now I'm watching. I could see how. Okay, I could see how that was going. But I do think him and I have a different connection than what they had. Like our foundations were different, and so I could see how he, could have a connection with Chrysanthemum.
We said KG and Chris, Alexis and Ryan.
What about Alexis and Ryan?
Alexis and Ryan, their date was cute. I don't know. It was cute. Because I felt like they were feeling each other from the beginning. Well, they spoke well of each other from the beginning. Let me say that. They spoke well of each other from the beginning. So I felt like it was definitely grounds for them to move in a positive direction. But it was like more of them just kind of flirty and like getting to know each other on a better level.
Yeah. I can say this about Ron. I like the traditional man in him that he kind of has, and I could see how Alexis would be drawn to that or like that.
Yeah.
She's kind of like. She's not traditional, but she has that little bit of traditional in her.
We all have a balance of both.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like
different ways.
And I feel like for them, their traditional side, it both worked well together. So I could say that. Yeah,
I can see them budding. But you guys gotta keep watching to see what happens. Cause I'm not gonna say nothing. And then Jason and Liz were on a date, and I was like, oh, that's cute. Y'all know I'm a little bit of petty, just a little bit, but no. Like,
Jason and Liz, they went on a date. It was a cute day. They have this I feel like this immature love that is just so. It's just like
adorable.
It's so adorable.
It is.
It's like when you're in middle school, love, and I kind of like that. I mean, it brings out the youth.
It's something about Jason though, cause I will say like even when I was with him,
and I was just
like there was like this kind of like not childlike, but in a sense like a childlike demeanor that comes out. Like I was just like, yo, why am I just sitting here giggling like a little girl, like a little high school kid? But it's cute and it's comfortable. And as a woman, when you're used to dealing with like a whole bunch of clowns and like drama and BS, like it feels good to just it's good to just kind of just sit back and giggle and feel lighthearted. So I totally meant it when I said like Jason was a safe space because I felt very comfortable in dealing with him. Whereas AJ was kind of like, I don't really, they're a wild card, but we'll get to that conversation. But no, but Jason's a sweetheart. I think him and Liz can work very well together if that is what they choose to do. You know, if they choose each other. But could you be celibate? If your partner came to you and was like, hey, I couldn't even get it out. I was like, hey, I practice celibacy, you know, and I'm abstinent.
But you
be okay with that?
So I don't want to get
based on where no, I'm not saying for anybody else. I'm just saying for where like, cause I'm gonna be honest, like
that's really hard.
Mom, I hope you're not watching, but
no, I'm gonna be honest. It's truly hard because
have you tried it? No, I'm not trying to get your business.
No. Look, I have been celibate.
Oh, I thought you looked at
No, I have been. Girl, I gotta watch from Apple Watch for my birthday, girl. So like, I'm still learning how to handle it. Okay. I'm still learning how to handle it. I'm like, what's buzzing on my heart? But it is useful for trial and stuff. Anyways, girl,
very true.
Celibacy. No, I have done celibacy, but it's been for my own accord, or it's not like, oh, I want to make that person wait, or
okay.
I'm gonna wait till I'm 90 days. It wasn't like anything. Oh shoot, sorry. It wasn't anything that had to do like relationship. It was just like,
were you on your own journey?
Yeah. But here we
go. Even in that case, it was still hard.
Girl, even in that case,
girl,
it was like I've done it for like a year. I've made it to like, I was like, oh, I made it a year. Okay, a year and a half. What, girl? So I was trying to go for 2 years. Baby, no.
Were you dating during that time too? Because I feel like I'm not trying to be, and not to diminish what you were doing by any case. I've been celibate when I've been single for extended period of times, and it's cool. Let the sleeping dragon lay sleeping. Yeah. But it's different when like you're intentional with a purpose and you're dating someone too, or maybe not just like being intentional like versus just like, hey, that's not what I'm on right now in life. But
see, this is the thing. I was dating, but here's the thing.
That makes it harder.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because I'm not attracted to everybody. And I really am for real a sapiosexual. I'm dead serious. And that's another reason, no shade. I mean, yes, I do feel like AJ and them were arrogant or whatever, but just looking at a person doesn't naturally just arouse me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's good to look at, but it's not gonna make me feel like, oh, I just want to do this.
After a while, we gotta have a conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, not after a while, but the conversation has to be
something about you just has to make me be like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
No, that's not good.
And so when you go on dates, let's be honest, every day is not, if you're dating, right? Unless you're exclusively dating, a date can be hit or miss.
That's true.
So I'm just like, man, I thought I was gonna want something today, but honey, what was that?
Wow.
So then what you do? I'm not even tempted. Not even a little bit. So then, girl, you have to do some things you don't want to do. You gotta call up your, one of your exes.
No, just stay focused. Yeah, stay focused on what your goals are. Stay focused.
No, you gotta stay, because you gotta make sure, you enjoy that one moment that you're gonna mess up.
I'm dead. So anyway, needless to say, Amber and I was stuck at trying to attempt.
But honestly, no. But I would try my hardest. If someone actually came to me and said that, and I feel like there's a genuine connection. Again, I feel like connections make things different.
Right.
And I feel like it's a genuine
women, we do a lot for love. We be like, yo, I would never do that. Yeah. We all in love. I'm like, okay, baby.
I should. Okay. And so I feel like, honestly, if you had that connection, I would at least do my very best to try.
That's accurate.
I'm not gonna
say never say never.
Okay, I would try. Now I can't say we're not gonna be waiting to marriage.
Unless maybe you can get married sooner than later.
No, we don't even have to do that. Like I'm not gonna force it to be sooner just because of it. No.
Would you get married to someone that you had not had sex with?
I could possibly, but girl, how long am I gonna wait? I'm not gonna wait that long.
So my reason for not disagreeing with, but
we're not dating for 6 years.
No, not even dating for 6 years.
Sorry, but no.
Could I marry someone that I never like?
You feel like you have to test? Yeah, you feel like you have to. See, I have my theory.
Mom ain't watching, but
no, I have my own theory about sex though.
I think I kind of know where you're going.
My theory is this:
I'm reading your mind.
Sex is always going to be good if you have a connection and if you have communication. You can tell a person. That's really all it is. Somebody can be,
that's very
hacking and not be whacking.
Yes.
Okay,
accurate. Accurate.
So it's not about that.
That's very
It's
accurate.
about you communicating. I feel like that's what makes
That's very
sex
accurate.
good.
So what
I could possibly not have sex with you because I'm gonna tell you this is what I like, this is what I don't like.
But I would have to have conversations before just so that we can see where our comfort levels are. Because if we're not even comfortable talking about it, then because what's interesting is actually at the mixer I had a conversation with a guy, and I asked him that actual same question. Not same question, but I said, how are you if there is a sexual disconnect with you and your partner?
Right.
Like, are you comfortable with talking about it? Because a lot of, like, I've known married couples that don't really talk about it, and neither one of them are satisfied, and that's a big part of like intimacy. That's not the only part of intimacy, but it's a part of intimacy, and it's a part of a marriage. And so if you can't even talk about it and what your needs are, their needs, and be comfortable in trying to accommodate them to your, you know what I'm saying, comfort levels, then that would be an issue. So I totally get not doing the act before marriage, but having conversation.
But then again,
before marriage,
I feel like that's where the true connection comes in.
And compassion, understanding, and love for each other. True love for each other.
If you have that, and that's why I don't want to be just, and that's why I came to this process not to be checking off the boxes. I came into this process to be like, who do I have a natural, genuine, soulmate connection with? Because you can check off the boxes, girl, and you're just as uncomfortable talking about this. You're uncomfortable about finding. You're just still tiptoeing around things because honestly, you just don't feel. And you should feel that comfortable because who do you call your best friend? The people that you can say, girl,
exactly.
And those who you don't feel comfortable with, you're not gonna really call them your best friend. I feel like that's the same way your partner should be. And so if you have that connection, I feel like all that kind of comes with it. When you're just so focused on, I need to do this,
that's not gonna work.
It cuts a lot of things off
that can genuinely
sustain your
satisfy
relationship.
You. Yeah, totally agree. So okay,
that was good, girl. A little detour.
So now I guess the last date would be good old AJ and I. AJ and I's date was his redemption date, and it was really sweet. It was very romantic. I was surprised. Cause
I'm sure you were surprised. You shade him a little bit like you did all of this, like crazy, like you paid for this shit.
Because I had not experienced that with him, and so it was just like AJ to me, like okay, like I like you, you like me, but our last experience wasn't the best. We've had conversations to put it in the past, but we had not experienced each other in a different light. And so I was excited to have that date, and for it to go well. Now, I will be honest, and like I think like you a little bit, if something is bothering me, I have a hard time swallowing it. Especially when there is dang near tension in the room. So at that date with AJ and I, it looks real cute, but beginning of that date was very tense.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Why that? Y'all had an argument before?
We didn't have an argument. It's just that AJ and, like, when I say AJ and I's communication was stifled, he and I really did have our guards up towards each other. Based on our dealings and based on our just previous experience with other people. And so we would be around each other and like want to connect, but still at the same time be very guarded. So in that date, it was very sweet, very romantic. And I wanted to let my guard down. He did too, but it was like tension in the air. To be very honest, we're like, we had to pause the date at a second and like be pulled to the side to be like, hey, what are y'all doing here?
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is not working. So when I came back to the table and I'm talking about, hey, what's up with communication with you? Like, no, I didn't say it like that, but just kind of like how do you communicate? Like, what about love languages when it's not being met? And like, if we're not understanding each other, then what's the purpose? That was because in that moment, he and I were liking each other, but we were not understanding each other. And so at that point, I really was feeling like, what are we doing here? And so, no, a date is not the typical time to have those type of conversations, but we were just not in a very lovey-dovey feel-good space where we could bypass that type of conversation and just be cool. Because one thing I don't do well is fake the funk.
Yeah.
Not in that capacity. So it was like, to get ahead, we kind of had to just cut through it. And I'm glad that we did, because at the end of that date, I really did walk away feeling like, okay, he opened up and showed a vulnerable side. I did as well. And we really were like, okay, look, I'm going to show you my heart. I want to see yours, and I really want us to try to make an intentional effort to pull our guards down, and just be more conscientious of it. So
I do feel like AJ and you bumped heads a lot.
it was weird,
And
because it was not intentional. It was just.
But no, I also feel like that's part of AJ, because I feel like he did it to me, and I feel like there were other women that said like, you know, there's this. It's how his brain operates. Honestly.
It's part of how his brain operates, but also, like AJ testified to himself, he doesn't trust many people.
Yeah.
And so if you don't trust many people, then when it comes to matters of the heart, you for sure not going to be open with it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're questioning what their intentions are.
Yeah.
And if they're really there for you,
Girl,
if they can support you.
He said that to me all the time, like, I know what your intentions were this, and I was like, why are you reading so deep into that? It was really just this plain and simple, like, there's nothing left.
Because even like we have to get to a point where he has to understand that how I talk and how I approach things is not my lawyer hat. Like, I was raised by Gashelle Coffee, and if you're my mama, you understand why I am how I am. Like, she was big on critical thinking. She was just big on all of that. So when I approached something, it wasn't me trying to manipulate the situation. That's just how I'm programmed. It's not any ulterior motive. It's not anything to be deceitful towards you. And so once he was able to learn genuinely who I am, I think he was able to let his guard down. And then vice versa, when I was able to just see the heart of him, I was like, yo, he's an asshole on the outside, but underneath that, oh, there's a little sweet guy.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a sweet, genuine guy. And yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I do have a question now.
What's up?
And nobody asked this question. But I believe the fans want to know, honey. The viewers want to know. So what's his new nickname? Because you can't say El Cheapo no more, girl. He done redeemed himself. So you have to give him a new nickname.
Right now he's AJ.
No, we need a nickname.
I don't have a new nickname. Because as you know, things get a little bit spicier down the line. So
that's true.
I don't. Right now he's AJ.
Okay, well, we're going to come back to that.
Right now, he's AJ. He's AJ.
Well,
but he's not El Cheapo.
El Redemptive. Well, El Redemo. El Redeemer.
AJ.
You're going to have to give us at the end.
I will.
You have to give a nickname.
You're right.
Because you started off.
I did. You're right.
And so we need that.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to agree with you 100% on that. Okay, I'm going to think about that.
I don't know if the viewers want to know, honey, but I want to know.
Gotcha. No, you're right. So as of now, he is not El Cheapo.
He's been.
But let's be honest. When you talk to your homegirls, and it's a guy. Most guys, like, until they make like a certain level,
you give them a name.
They got a nickname. Nobody real name. I'm just
DJ, the DJ.
We can make it either a good name or a bad name, up to your behavior.
Shoes, you know.
She said shoes. Who's shoes?
Big Lip.
Oh, okay. She got one.
You go off of literally you go off of features or you go off of jobs or something that stood out.
They do that mess up.
Something that stood out or something. I'm sure guys do the same thing.
I'm sure.
But I'm just sure. I'm sure theirs are more tailored to our
aesthetics.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'm 100% sure. I have male friends who I be like, yo, what's the name of your phone? Wow.
So I'm sure mine's gonna have to be with my complexion and probably my height.
Oh, your profession.
My demeanor and my profession.
I'm gonna call it a little spicy. So we get to deliberation.
Right.
And okay, so people are like, cause when I tell y'all Amber, like, so I mentioned Jason's name, she shot Jason down. I said AJ's name. No, I said David's name, she shot David down. Then I said AJ's name, she shot AJ down. So when I said, hold on now, it was because I'm like, yo, you just shot down all the three guys.
No, you said that only when I said AJ.
Because AJ was the last one.
It was like.
Because it was like, that's 3 for 3.
Okay, AJ was the last one.
That was the last one. So I'm like, yo, 3 for wow. But I'm not like, she's entitled to her own opinion.
Yeah.
That was really, like, we're having girl talk in deliberation.
2 of them or 3 of them were the same every single time. The 2 of them were the same. Jason and AJ were the same every single time. They already spoken to them. I already told them you're going to be in the bottom. And I'm sure they put me on the bottom as well for their list.
Gotcha.
So we had that kind of understanding, like, we don't have a connection. We don't talk. I have to,
Gotcha.
you know, because y'all don't know this, but literally after every date or whatever we do, production is like, who's your top three? Who's your top three? Who's your top three? And I mean, obviously, it's dwindling down, so we don't
have
and there's
to pick from. Right.
Yeah,
well,
you
before you
have
come be like, oh, this person.
you're gonna name your top three. If there's only
Yeah.
5 guys, that's 2 people that's automatically in your bottom.
Yeah, no, that's accurate.
So
that's
I
accurate.
mean, so they already knew that.
No, and I'm not. And so for
So
me,
I
it
was
was
like,
like
okay,
we were having girls. To me, like Deliberation, it's like the guys' Deliberation was like girl talk.
it is.
And so when your girl just knock out all your 3 dudes that you like, hold on now, wait a second. Like not one, just you gonna put all my guys in the bottom. Like what?
So is that why y'all started coming for Chris, honey?
No, I didn't say anything bad about Chris.
There y'all started coming for Chris. I'm like, now
That was
hold
not me.
on.
Don't put me in that. That was not me.
I'm
But
like, hold
so
up.
when I said, come on now, it was because I was like, Amber, you just took off all 3 of my heads. Like, all 3 of the guys that I like, you was like, send him home, and send him home. And I was like, so it's no love for me here. It's a vacancy.
But then, how did you feel when other people started saying AJ?
So
I felt like this is how I personally
Mhm.
think. I don't know how everybody was gonna say, but I feel like not until I kind of opened up that door, then people kind of was like, yeah, AJ. Well, Bernice was gonna say AJ. Regardless.
Yeah, she was.
But
Bernice was always kind of like,
no.
she's
But
like,
I feel like
AJ
other
was-
people were just kind of like, at first, I was shocked because I feel like some people were actually for him.
who swapped. That's why I was like,
And then
wait.
it was like, yep, AJ too. And I feel like it was like after the fact, like, I was like, I don't know. But yeah.
So that's why at the end I was like, wait, you say him, you say him, you say him, you say, and okay, well.
But I do believe, like, throughout the deliberation, there were certain traits about him that kept
Which I'm
coming
not
and
gonna argue with
rising, and, like, the women were just kind of feeling like,
rubbing in the wrong way.
yeah, like, what's
Right.
going on? So, yeah. But he didn't get eliminated.
He lives to see another day.
So,
Instead, instead, y'all send me to send Deidre home. Oh, Jesus.
How you feel about that?
Yo.
I can say this about Diedrich. I really can say this about him. He was such a man about elimination. I was like, guys, he took it like
He really did.
a G. He called everybody or some people that he's cool was like, hey, that's how I found out. He called me and was like, hey, I just want you to know, like, we're still cool. This is, good. And it was a great experience. And
That's
he was just
my
so
brother.
such a man about it. I was like, yes. And he was like, I know you're still in the process, so if you don't feel comfortable coming out or doing whatever, that's fine. But afterwards, we got to kick it. I'm not upset with y'all eliminating me, like, at all. And I was like, that is real.
So when I tell you I was so nervous because I don't like delivering bad news. And I don't like delivering bad news to good people.
Yeah.
And so I was like, y'all, I got wait, what? Okay. So then walked through there, I'm like, okay, here he is. Hey, DJ, And I just wanted to first just give him, you guys don't see this, but I wanted to uplift him and give him I didn't just want to go in and say, hey, you're not ready to love, we're sending you home. No, he's a phenomenal guy. But for us, the women there didn't have a strong enough connection with him in that way.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of just what I wanted to harp on. I know he had that day with Bernice. I don't think we talked about that. That was this episode, right?
No.
That wasn't this episode?
Oh, yeah.
Dietrich and Bernice?
Oh, yeah, I think so, yeah.
They did have a date this
That
episode.
was
And,
I thought you were talking about the first.
Oh, gotcha. So they had a date this episode, and it was cool, but for what Bernice needed, it just wasn't, like, Dietrich wasn't showing that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of try to talk about that a little bit because I know that Dietrich liked VL in that moment. But it was very hard for me, and so when y'all see me make the face, I'm like, I don't want to see you go, but this is where we're at in the process. And when I tell you he was so just, he was comforting me. Like, Kyra, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's cool. I understand, I understand what it is, and I appreciate you. I appreciate the process. I appreciate the other ladies. It was a pleasure meeting y'all, and, wish you the best. And I was like, I love you, Deidre.
Also,
So
there were other factors that played
Mm.
into his elimination.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm not going to get into it but there were other factors that played into his elimination. I was not one of the people that eliminated him
Me
for
either.
this very reason.
Me either.
Because I was
Put that
not
out
there, and we are attorneys, and we know that, honey, we were not there, we were not witnesses, child, so we're not going to testify to nothing that we did not see, okay? So, I think that played a major role. Honestly, I think that played a major role into his elimination. I do.
So,
because the
big
women
picture,
felt a
had,
certain way about that.
Big picture, he had an argument with another lady on the show. And I think that the way that went kind of shaped other people's opinion of him. But at Deliberation, at one moment, I made a point to say, like, hey, you weren't, like, you don't know the facts of that situation. So you have to eliminate who you want to eliminate based on your interactions with them, not somebody else's.
Yeah, but their mind was made up. Which I understand from their perspective, whoever was there, like, I mean, if that happened, that happened. But, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, so I didn't want to say anything about that. So, yeah. So, I do think that played a major role.
Where's Tony at? Isn't he now? I mean, I'm assuming this person means where's Troy at? Girl, Troy been gone.
He said, where's what?
Where Tony at? Isn't he not on the show?
Not Tony.
Joelle should.
Troy.
Somebody said Joelle should not even kiss her on the cheek because she likes Chris. Okay, so let me say this, and I'm gonna obviously speak for yourself, but y'all have to understand, like, it's a dating show, and yes, we're cool, but you can be cool and respectful. He didn't kiss her in the mouth; it was respectful on the cheek. But if you like somebody, then you have to explore your option because we all just met, so you can't say, hey, I'm not going to pursue this person solely because I'm cool with this other person. When you guys could be a better fit. So I'm not going to knock that because I'm not saying that they did have that connection. But if there was someone who did have a connection and didn't pursue it because they became friends with somebody else on the show at that time, that's not fair to anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't think he was disrespectful in how he asked her first. It wasn't like a big, let me slobber you down. It was just like a peck. But somebody was like that you was messy because you made it seem like it was more than a peck on the cheek.
And that's the thing.
I'm just saying. Somebody was like,
okay,
Amber being messy because it was just a peck and she made it seem like.
But that's the thing. They don't understand the ladies' lounge. We all do that. And secondly, I ended up saying that it was on the cheek because I remember that Vernisha, she wasn't upset about that, and we didn't talk about that, and nobody felt uncomfortable. So I was like, it was just on the cheek, but still a kiss. So that's editing. But at the end of the day, that's how the ladies' lounge is. Okay, I used to be one of the people at first that did not really say anything about my dates. But if I want to say we kiss, we kiss. Well, because I kissed him back in exchange, and so I feel like that's why I said that like that
kiss
at that
me
moment.
And I'll kiss you.
Like, because that was, because the kiss, that was kind of like a highlight of our moment. Like, he said, hey, can I kiss you on the cheek when he first came in? And I was like, depending on how the day goes, I'll kiss you back at the end. So it was just like a we kiss, but it wasn't like a we kiss. You know? And I'm sure I detailed that because we're pretty detailed in the ladies' lounge. But again, you guys only hear so much. Like, they're gonna edit it however. I mean,
they be editing my faces to look real sideways.
Yeah, you only hear you don't even hear a tidbit of what really goes on. Mm-hmm. But back to that. What was I saying? What was you saying?
Kiss me.
No, what they asked.
Oh, they had asked, hey, we're going to check out soon. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free. Oh, somebody said they have a new name suggestion for AJ.
What is it?
El Novio?
El Mobio?
Novio.
The boyfriend.
Okay.
Oh, that means boyfriend. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Keep watching. Let's see. Are there any other questions? I'm just scrolling. Somebody said you kissed old boy and you felt guilty. What's the tea? It's not tea. You just you. Cause when you said you kissed.
Okay, y'all. It's a dating show, and honestly, Chris and I had a talk, and all the guys, we all have a talk, and you just say like, hey, you have to kind of respect the other person's process. Of course, everybody doesn't do that because feelings play a major role, but like, we have to respect each other's process because I'm here to find what's best for me, and sometimes that may entail a kiss. So yeah, is Chris gonna feel a certain type of way? Yes, and if Chris kisses somebody or does something that he shared with me and does it, something with another woman, I might feel a certain type of way, but at the same time, I respect him because he tells me about it, and it's his process. So I don't know about everybody else, but I don't even want to. If I'm not your match, even if I feel like, even if I like you, if you don't feel like I'm your best match, I don't want to be your part because you're gonna always have that person's gonna always have that in the back of their head, like that person. You're really not my best match, and that's just how I operate. So it's for him to explore.
Because someone asked me like, how did you feel about the Jason and Liz date? My whole thing, like Jason and I had a conversation at the mixer, and it was like, yo, we like each other, but explore the process. And for me, at the end of the day, walk away with who is the best fit for you. Whether it's me, whether it's somebody else, or whether it's nobody. Explore who is the best fit for you. And if it's somebody else, I'll never, even in real life, I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
But how you handle me in the process is where things get tricky.
Yeah, that's true.
So go for what is the best fit for you. You can never knock somebody for doing what's the best fit for them if you truly care about that person. But they should also handle you, know what I'm saying, with respect or, whatever.
Y'all know those relationships where you had to let that person go because they didn't love you properly, but you felt like they really, some of y'all been in those, honey, okay, where you felt like, dang, I feel like this person still wants this person or is better for that person.
It's so hard to want someone else.
I've done that in college. Like, this guy was in love with me, and I cared about him, but I just felt like at that moment I was not the best fit. And I said, like, this other girl's pursuing you, and I feel like at this moment she's your best fit. And guess what? They're married.
Wow.
They have two. I'm dead serious. They have 2 children. Like.
But I respect you for being able to make that decision as a woman.
And he was like so upset, like.
But you could see it.
But I could see that because that's not like what he wanted. I knew like somewhere down the line, like that doesn't balance out. And they're a beautiful family. Like,
that's awesome.
I talk to them. It's cool.
That's awesome.
So I feel like that's just how love works, or when you care about a person.
You really care about somebody.
Yeah, you want them to really be happy. You want them to really do what's best for them. So I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's real.
No, that's very real. That was one question I was gonna answer. Someone said, "Oh, was freaking frat really annoying in editing?" As ladies, no, because we were all like they had a great friendship. They are still really great friends. What? I'm really, really close with V.
That's crazy.
You're really close with Lex. Like, we all have great friendships. So for us, it wasn't a problem. For the fellas, you gonna have to ask them because they're the ones that brought that up. Because we didn't bring up the freaking frat as an issue, but the guys did. So.
Stacy and Chrysanthemum are cool. I honestly didn't realize the freaking frat thing
until post show. I mean, like watching it with you guys.
Yeah, I know.
Did you figure it out during the filming?
I didn't. I didn't really pay attention to it during the film. I'm not gonna lie. Like they were cool, but I didn't. It was like towards the masquerade ball where I kind of heard a little bit, and then after that. But in all honesty, we're all, especially when we're all together, you're trying to talk to your tops, like you're trying to keep the connection going. So you're not paying attention to
the other ladies,
freaks and frack, and who's doing this and blah blah. Like we're all trying to talk,
solidify that connection.
Exactly. So honestly, I didn't even notice it that much. Not saying like. They don't have a good friendship or anything. I'm just saying, like, I literally didn't pay attention to that during the show.
Okay, this is the last question. Somebody says, would you allow your man to talk to other females in a relationship? Okay.
In a relationship?
Hell no. Let's talk about let's talk about in dating. Dating is dating. So for me, dating is kind of like the show, but the show puts everybody in each other's face.
Yeah.
So for dating, like if I'm saying that we're just dating each other, then that means we're trying to see where this can go. But you still have the freedom to date other people, and I do as well. We're not committing to each other. Now, once we are in a committed relationship, then no, neither one of us are allowed to date. For me, neither one of us are allowed to date other people.
And when we're dating exclusively,
so that's what I mean by committed relationship.
Well,
no, that's the same. For me, look, committed and
it could be committed.
We go with these things all levels.
No. It's how you perceive it, but it could be committed. But to me, it's like it's levels. But it's the same
I
initially.
have 3 levels.
But dating exclusively, then committed relationship is like we are official, and then see, because dating exclusively doesn't mean you're official. That just
how do we
like
get to all these levels in life?
Society, and you should not conform to society.
So for me, it's dating, meaning we're cool, we're dating each other, but we also date other people.
Correct.
Then the second level for me is in a committed and exclusive relationship, and then after that is engaged and then marriage.
So for me, it's talking.
See, well, wait. Let me say
dating.
So dating for me, if I'm dating someone, I'll ask, are we dating for fun or are we dating to see where you can go? But it's still dating because we still have. But my intention is different.
It's still dating, yeah. That's what I'm saying. So talking dating.
How did we get here in life?
Talking dating is just like, oh, he's cool, whatever. Then it's dating where it's like we're dating, we're trying to see if it goes somewhere. Then for me, it's exclusively dating where it's saying we don't know if we want to officially be official yet, but we're at least making that step forward to say we think we want to be official. Then it's committed relationship. Committed relationship. That's boyfriend girlfriend. We're saying like, hey, we are in a committed relationship, and literally this is official, and like now we can have anniversaries. And then after that, anniversary. You know you gotta keep with all those anniversaries. Like technically we were.
Cause girl, bye. Look,
homeboy. And then there is engagement, and then there's marriage. Period. From exclusive on up to marriage, you're not. No, sir. You're not seeing.
So the exclusive come before committed or after committed?
Exclusive is committed. Because sometimes you know how you date and you're saying, this is it. Like, I'm just dating this person, only this person. But you're not official yet. Like, that guy has not officially said, like, I want you to be, like, together. I want us to be together. Because you could just still be kind of, this is what happens, though. And that's why I split them up like that. Because this is the miscommunication used between women and men.
Okay, I'm listening.
Men are like, we're not together, we're just still dating. But yes, for them it's exclusive, but to them, men always have to, like, the commitment comes different for them.
We communicate real well. Let me say what I'm doing, homeboy. If this is if we're just dating, we're just dating. If we are together in a committed and exclusive relationship, that's what we're doing. And until we're ready to make that decision, we stay in the dating zone. And then from exclusive and committed, we go to engage. So
you stay in the dating zone, so when you're really feeling a guy and you're not yet in a relationship,
I still stay in the dating zone.
And you still date other men.
You're
saying dating is dating other men. So you're okay when you're really, really feeling somebody. You're really, really feeling them. You're okay with them dating other people because that's what dating is to you.
Exactly.
That's why I say
no. So I may not be okay with it, but I understand the reality of the situation. So I may not like it, but if that's the reality of it, because to say for me personally, to say exclusive dating, but we're not committed, to me, I can't conceptualize it.
Also, this is why I say exclusively dating.
Because when you add because dudes love gray areas. I don't need no extra gray areas.
No, that's not gray. Because when you add sex into there,
you can't everybody mess up.
You can't be, to me, if we're dating, that's me technically saying you're free to do whatever with other people. When we're exclusively dating, you're not free to do whatever with other people.
Very accurate.
And that's where it gets, because I just like to be safe.
So if you're just take off the sexual part?
No.
But you can still hang out with other people?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You could be cool, whatever, but exclusively, like, you're not going to just be slanging it everywhere.
You know why I don't even go there? Because I'm not going to even trust you to really tell me what the real. And I understand how situations happen.
But that's it. You could be in a marriage and they not tell you the real. But it needs to be, to me, it has to be said. I'm going to be single. No. But you know what? It takes a minute for me to commit. So let me.
Oh, really? I'm gonna come back to where I'm giving her this look later on when we do a review.
It takes a minute for me to commit into a serious relationship.
Gotcha.
I will be exclusive. I'll be exclusive.
But you won't commit. Why?
At
that point, I'm like, well, why? If we're exclusive, why not commit?
I guess because in my head, I'm being real. In my head, it's almost like
you look at it like marriage.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, this is like completely.
And it's not.
I feel like your freedom is not that your freedom is shut down, but you do. I'm more so free. I'm so free. So it's like, for me, it's like, okay, you need to be, especially let's say y'all are sharing, you know, y'all are cohabitating. So you need to be respectful of that person. Exactly. You have to.
So you adding all these different little spices.
But when you're in a serious relationship, things like that happen. You have to. You need to be respectful of that person and come in at a decent
when you're
time.
committed.
Yeah. You need to.
You can't be in these streets, Amber.
You need to at least tell that person, like, hey, you know, that person talking to you, you can't, like, when I'm dating, I can sometimes ignore you or get you when you're in a relationship. When you're in a committed, no, I'm just saying I'm so busy. But I take the time out when I'm in a committed relationship to be like, I know I'm so busy, I might be in trouble right now, but let me just whisper real quick. When you know you're not supposed to, you take that extra mile, that extra step, you know,
to make them comfortable.
Right. When I'm just dating, you're probably not gonna have a lot of meals. You know, when I'm in a committed relationship, I will do something. I'm saying there is a difference. Like,
no. That's
and so to me, I'm just like not gonna just be like. So I will be exclusively dating and be like, it's fine. You can just, you know, it's more relaxed. I feel like when it gets to that committed relationship, I feel like somehow I feel like responsibilities fall on my shoulder, and I'm like, this is how I feel, for real. It falls on my shoulder, and I'm just like, You said what?
We're gonna talk about it because we do have a difference of opinion here, which is totally fine. We're gonna expound about this.
Yeah. So.
More. But thank you guys for joining us on our recap with the Lady Lawyers of Ready to Love for our Ready to Recap Talk About It Tuesday. We will be back, and you can definitely follow me, obviously, at It's Coffee Time, and you can follow Amber. And I did not tag her, but when I reposted on my page, I didn't put the comment up to pin it.
Girl,
because somebody was late. Somebody was late. So when she came here, I was just like,
I
hit it on real quick.
Tagged her, y'all. She was late. Honey.
But when I put it on my page, I'm going to tag her. But they can find you at Amber. Is it underscore Roxy?
Yeah. Amber _ Rose. ROSE.
But no, that's right here.
Not Roxy. From 106 and Park.
I don't know. First I thought Roxanne, like Roxanne. It's not a new letter. Anyway.
Rose.
It's been a long day.
ROSE.
But I appreciate you guys doing this. I'm not surprised. Thank y'all for joining us. Continue to watch the show Fridays on OWN at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can also catch it on the OWN YouTube channel and also catch like scenes that are like not behind the scenes snippets, but just snippets that aren't in the real episode that are quite entertaining. So be sure to watch there. I think they can also watch on Discovery Plus or something like that. Discovery Plus as well. So watch, engage with us, communicate. Let us know what y'all are thinking about the season thus far, good or bad, because we don't see it all. But we love you guys nonetheless, and thank you for tuning in today.
Bye, y'all. Thank you.